Welcome to InfoStream, your daily current. Unsure what to listen to? Turn to us for today's headlines. Stay informed. Ukraine, US and Europe negotiate a shifting peace plan. Escalating tensions lead to an Israeli target in Beirut. Hundreds of students are kidnapped from a Nigerian school. The G20 summit concluded with a US boycott and global challenges. Pakistan experiences another deadly suicide attack. The Trump administration designates Maduro as a terrorist organization. Gaza food aid remains critically insufficient. Japan invests in semiconductor manufacturing in Hokkaido. Allegations surface of Duduzile Zuma's recruitment plot for Russia. Palau faces geopolitical tensions in the Pacific. The SEC increases its crackdown on financial crime in Thailand. A Thai rice deal boosts exports amidst trade issues. Severe flooding impacts Hat Yai, Songkhla Province. NIST International School is a global academic hub. PDT's new hotel strategy reflects strategic adjustments. The delicate dance at Ukraine, US and Europe grapple with a shifting peace plan. Recent developments surrounding peace negotiations between Ukraine, the United States, and European nations reveal a complex and evolving situation centered around a 28-point peace plan spearheaded by President Donald Trump. The core of the plan involves significant concessions from Ukraine, including territorial surrenders, limitations on its military size, and a permanent exclusion from NATO membership. Initially, the US administration, particularly through Secretary of State Marco Rubio, presented the proposal as a significant breakthrough, highlighting probably the most productive day in engagement. However, this optimism has been tempered by concerns from European allies who view the plan as heavily skewed in favor of Russia. Ukraine, while acknowledging the US efforts, expresses deep reservations, primarily focusing on the proposed restrictions on its armed forces and the potential for Russia to exploit European hesitancy. European leaders are attempting to establish a coordinated response, seeking to mitigate the impact of the plan, while maintaining a relationship with the US. The negotiations involve key figures from the US, Ukraine, and European nations, including national security advisors from Germany, France, and the United Kingdom, who are attending meetings in Geneva. President Trump has indicated a willingness to modify the proposal, framing it as an unfinal offer. Despite the US's push for a swift resolution, the plan's implications for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity remain a central point of contention. European nations are working to ensure their voices are heard and to safeguard Ukraine's long-term security interests. The delicate balance between diplomatic engagement and strategic resistance is currently being tested, with the future of the conflict hanging in the balance. Escalating tensions. Israel targets Hezbollah official in Beirut. Recent events highlight a significant escalation in the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. In a targeted airstrike, Israel killed Ali Tabtai, identified as Hezbollah's chief of staff, marking the first such attack on Beirut's densely populated Dahiyeh district in months, despite a US and France brokered ceasefire established last November. The strike resulted in at least 5 fatalities and 28 injuries, according to the Lebanese Health Ministry. Israel's action underscores a heightened campaign against Hezbollah, a Shia Muslim group supported by Iran, which is accused of rebuilding its military capabilities, smuggling weapons into Lebanon, and producing explosive drones. This escalation coincides with growing concerns about a potential further deterioration of the situation. Hezbollah confirmed the attack targeted a senior commander, but withheld the individual's full identity. The US government, under the Trump administration, has long viewed Tabtai as a terrorist and has offered a $5 million reward for information leading to his capture. The conflict originated following Hezbollah's rocket fire at Israeli positions the day after the Hamas attacks of October 7, 2023, with Hezbollah framing the actions as solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza. Israel claims Hezbollah's actions have resulted in approximately 4,000 deaths in Lebanon, including many civilians, and the displacement of over 1.2 million residents. Lebanon's President Joseph Aoun has urged the international community to pressure Israel to halt its attacks and withdraw from southern Lebanon, citing violations of the ceasefire agreement. The Lebanese government remains committed to disarming Hezbollah, but the group refuses to discuss weapons issues before Israel's withdrawal. The US administration is reportedly growing impatient with the slow progress against Hezbollah, further fueling tensions. The conflict has resulted in the deaths of over 80 Israeli soldiers and 47 Israeli civilians, adding to the already devastating human cost. The situation remains volatile, with significant implications for regional stability. Hundreds of students kidnapped from Catholic school in Nigeria. Multiple coordinated attacks targeting schools in Nigeria have resulted in the abduction of hundreds of students and teachers, primarily from Catholic schools, highlighting a severe security crisis. 50 children successfully escaped from the initial abduction at St. Mary's School in Niger State, a rescue operation still underway with the remaining 265 students and 12 teachers. Following this incident, schools across Kebbi and other states including Katsina, Yobe and Kwara have been ordered to close due to heightened security risks. A church in Kwara State was also attacked, resulting in fatalities and further abductions. The attacks, attributed to criminal gangs known locally as bandits, are fueled by ransom demands and represent a significant challenge for President Bola Tinubu, who has postponed international engagements, including the G20 summit, to address the crisis. These events have sparked international concern, with claims of Christian persecution dismissed by the Nigerian government, which asserts that attacks target all who reject Islamist militants' ideology. Recent attacks have echoed previous concerns raised by figures like Donald Trump, who advocated for military intervention. However, the Nigerian government maintains that the violence stems from resource competition, particularly between herders and farmers, rather than religious motivations. The 2014 Chibok school kidnapping, involving 276 girls, remains a poignant reminder of the ongoing crisis. Despite international efforts, approximately 100 of those girls remain missing. The situation underscores the complexity of the security challenges within Nigeria, demanding a multifaceted approach to address the root causes of violence and ensure the safety of its citizens. The attacks are not solely focused on religious targets, but rather exploit vulnerabilities and create chaos. The G20 summit concludes amidst U.S. boycott and focus on global challenges. The G20 summit concluded in South Africa, with the adoption of a joint declaration emphasizing multilateral cooperation despite significant divisions, most notably the United States boycott. President Donald Trump's absence stemmed from disputed claims regarding alleged violence and land seizures targeting South Africa's white minority population. The summit, the first ever held in Africa, brought together the world's major economies to address pressing global issues, including climate change mitigation and economic inequality. Despite the U.S. withdrawal, delegates successfully reached consensus on a range of critical issues. A key achievement was the agreement to work towards just, comprehensive, and lasting peace in several conflict zones, notably Ukraine, Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and the occupied Palestinian territory. The inclusion of Sudan was particularly noteworthy, marking the first time the G20 had prominently addressed the ongoing conflict after more than 2 years. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva acknowledged Trump's absence, asserting that multilateralism remained vital. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz criticized the U.S. decision to boycott, stating that the world was undergoing a realignment with new connections forming. The summit's success highlights the continued importance of international cooperation despite geopolitical tensions. The ceremonial handover of the presidency to the United States, scheduled for next week involving junior officials, will take place at Trump's Florida golf course. The summit's outcome reflects a commitment to addressing global challenges through collective action, despite disagreements among member nations. The focus on Sudan's conflict underscores a broadening scope of international concern, signaling a potential shift in the G20's priorities. Pakistan suffers another deadly suicide attack in Peshawar. A devastating suicide attack targeted the headquarters of the Federal Constabulary in Peshawar, Pakistan, resulting in the deaths of 5 individuals, including 3 security officials, and at least 12 injuries. The attack, which occurred on Monday at approximately 0810 local time, Serio 310 GMT, involved 2 suicide bombers who breached multiple layers of security at the highly fortified complex. Police reported the attackers were armed as they charged, ultimately being gunned down at the gate before entering the building. The Federal Constabulary, responsible for handling complex situations beyond police capabilities such as tribal incursions and criminal gang violence, is located in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, a region bordering Afghanistan and historically prone to militant activity. The attack underscores the ongoing security challenges facing Pakistan. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif labeled the incident a foiled terrorist plot and vowed to identify and prosecute the perpetrators. The attack follows a similar deadly suicide attack 2 weeks prior in Islamabad, which resulted in 12 fatalities and 27 injuries. This attack was initially blamed on India and Afghanistan, accusations vehemently denied by those nations. The Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan's TTP, also known as the Pakistani Taliban, remains a significant threat, operating actively in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. Adding to the concerning trend, a suicide attack in February resulted in 6 fatalities at an Islamic seminary, though no group claimed responsibility. The ongoing violence highlights the persistent security concerns and the TTP's continued influence in the region. The attack in Peshawar further emphasizes the need for continued efforts to combat terrorism, and ensure the safety and security of the Pakistani population. Authorities are currently focused on securing the area and investigating the circumstances surrounding the attack. Trump administration designates Maduro regime as foreign terrorist organization. The Trump administration has formally designated Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his government, specifically the Cartel de los Soles, as foreign terrorist organizations. This move, announced November 16th, empowers President Donald Trump to implement fresh sanctions targeting Maduro's assets and infrastructure. Despite being the State Department's most serious counterterrorism tool, the designation does not explicitly authorize the use of lethal force, according to legal experts. The Cartel de los Soles, described as a network of corrupt government officials linked to drug trafficking, is not a conventional organized crime group. Maduro has consistently denied involvement in drug trafficking, and his government has refuted the existence of the cartel. As part of Operation Southern Spear, the U.S. military has amassed over 15,000 troops and more than a dozen warships in the region, resulting in the deaths of dozens of individuals through boat strikes aimed at disrupting drug trafficking. Trump has been briefed on various options, including strikes on government facilities and special operations raids, alongside the option of inaction. Amidst escalating tensions, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Dan Kane, and his senior enlisted advisor, David Isom, will visit Puerto Rico to acknowledge the support of service members in the Caribbean. Public opposition to U.S. military involvement is significant, with a CBS News YouGov poll revealing 70% of Americans opposing action, while 76% believe the administration lacks clarity on its position. The administration's stated goals include curbing illegal migration and drug flows, with regime change potentially being a consequence. Trump has expressed openness to a diplomatic resolution, suggesting Maduro would like to talk and hinting at a potential conversation. Recent events highlight the heightened situation. The U.S. conducted its largest military display near Venezuela, featuring aircraft like an FA-18 fighter jet and a B-52 strategic bomber. And 3 international airlines canceled flights departing from Venezuela after the FAA issued warnings of a potentially hazardous situation. These developments underscore the precarious geopolitical landscape surrounding Venezuela and the U.S. increasingly assertive stance. Gaza food aid remains insufficient despite ceasefire. Despite the recent ceasefire in Gaza, significant challenges persist in providing adequate food assistance to the overwhelmingly displaced population. Numerous community kitchens, spearheaded by organizations like ANERA and supported by World Central Kitchen, are distributing over 1.4 million meals daily, a substantial increase from a month prior, yet critical shortages remain. While aid distribution has expanded, access to diverse and nutritious food is severely limited, primarily consisting of rice, pasta, and lentils. ANERA's kitchens, operating across Gaza, struggle to secure essential proteins like meat and chicken due to restrictions on their entry. The organization relies on commercial sellers for these items, but the cost remains prohibitive. The kitchens also lack adequate supplies such as utensils, packaging, and gas canisters. Approximately 2/3 of households in Gaza report difficulties purchasing food due to a severe lack of cash, exacerbated by the destruction of homes and the loss of livelihoods. Many displaced individuals, like Ada Salha, live in overcrowded, makeshift shelters and rely entirely on community kitchen provisions, which are often infrequent. The UN's World Food Program estimates that a quarter of households are consuming only 1 meal per day. Despite some price drops on local markets for basic commodities like vegetable oil and flour, prices remain significantly higher than pre-war levels. The ongoing restrictions on the operation of humanitarian organizations, stemming from Israeli registration issues, further complicate aid delivery. Currently, only 3 of Gaza's 5 crossing points are operational, hindering the flow of aid. Aid agencies are urgently calling for the complete reopening of all crossings and eased restrictions on established organizations. The situation is dire, with many families, including Abdul Karim Abdul Hadi, facing catastrophic conditions and complete financial ruin following the loss of their homes and loved ones. The continued reliance on community kitchens highlights the urgent need for sustained and unrestricted humanitarian assistance to address the widespread food insecurity in Gaza. Japan's Gappl reviving semiconductor manufacturing in Hokkaido. Japan is undertaking a significant investment to transform the island of Hokkaido into a global hub for advanced semiconductor production, a bold strategy aimed at addressing decades of decline in its domestic chip industry. The initiative, spearheaded by Rapidus, a government-backed company partnering with IBM, Toyota, SoftBank, and Sony, centers around building a state-of-the-art chip foundry in Chitose. Rapidus's primary goal is to produce 2-nanometer chips, a feat currently achieved by only TSMC and Samsung, leveraging an EUV lithography system delivered by ASML. The project's success hinges on Rapidus's ability to rapidly produce and deliver custom chips, a key differentiator from industry giants like TSMC and Samsung. This speed is considered vital given surging global demand for chips, driven by the rise of artificial intelligence and Japan's need to secure its automotive supply chain. Government subsidies totaling $27 billion between 2020 and early 2024, alongside a further $65 billion package for AI and semiconductors, are fueling the expansion. However, challenges remain. Rapidus lacks experience in advanced chip manufacturing, and securing sufficient funding estimated at $31.8 billion is a concern. Yield and quality issues, coupled with competition from established players, pose significant hurdles. The country's demographic challenges, a shrinking population, and an aging workforce exacerbate the situation, creating a shortage of skilled semiconductor engineers. Despite these obstacles, Japan is attracting foreign investment. TSMC has established a 12-20 nm production facility in Kumamoto, while Samsung is building a research and development center in Yokohama. Micron is receiving $3.63 billion to expand its facilities in Hiroshima, and ASML and Tokyo Electron have opened offices in Chitose. The government's strategy involves fostering a global ecosystem, where Rapidus, TSMC, and other local companies collaborate to produce chips, ultimately aiming to establish Japan as a competitive force in the global semiconductor market. The investment is viewed as a national security priority, ensuring domestic chip supply and bolstering Japan's technological capabilities. Rapidus's focus on speed and customization represents Japan's best chance to revitalize its semiconductor industry and regain its position as a major player in the global technology landscape. Duduzile Zuma accused of Russia recruitment plot. A significant controversy has emerged in South Africa involving Duduzile Zuma Sambudla, daughter of former President Jacob Zuma, who is currently facing separate treason charges. She is accused of orchestrating a scheme to recruit 17 South African men, and potentially individuals from Botswana, to fight for Russian mercenaries in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The accusations stem from a statement made by Nkosazana Zuma Muncube, who alleges that Duduzile Zuma Sambudla, a member of parliament, and two others misrepresented lucrative security contracts as a pretext to lure the men to Russia. The men, aged between 20 and 39, were reportedly targeted amidst South Africa's high unemployment rate, particularly among young people, making them vulnerable to recruitment. These allegations align with previous reports by Bloomberg, which detailed similar recruitment attempts involving individuals from neighboring Botswana. The situation adds to Duduzile Zuma Sambudla's existing legal challenges, as she is currently on trial for terrorism-related charges connected to comments she made during violent protests following her father's arrest in 2021. These protests, characterized by looting and arson, resulted in at least 300 fatalities. Duduzile Zuma Sambudla maintains that the charges against her are politically motivated, a claim consistent with her assertion that she fulfilled a moral obligation to file a police complaint against her sister. Jacob Zuma, formerly imprisoned for contempt of court, has since formed the MK political party and secured third place in last year's elections. The BBC has reached out to the MK party and the Jacob Zuma Foundation for comment, reflecting the widespread interest in this developing story. The government has received distress calls from the affected men, highlighting the potential for further investigation and legal action. The situation underscores concerns about recruitment tactics and the vulnerability of individuals facing economic hardship. Palau, a Pacific crossroads amidst geopolitical tensions. Palau, a small Pacific island nation, finds itself at the center of a complex geopolitical struggle involving China, the United States, and Taiwan. Initially, Chinese tourism, comprising roughly half of Palau's visitors, fueled significant economic growth. But Beijing abruptly halted these packages in 2017, allegedly as a political leverage tactic to discourage Palau's recognition of Taiwan. This disruption severely impacted Palau's economy, leading to the abandonment of newly built tourist facilities. The United States maintains a long-standing partnership with Palau, rooted in the Compact of Free Association, granting exclusive military access in exchange for substantial aid. Washington is bolstering its military presence in Palau, constructing infrastructure, like the Tamar radar system, and expanding Malacca Harbor, driven by concerns about China's expanding influence in the Western Pacific. However, this expansion has raised concerns about land acquisition by Chinese businesses, particularly near U.S. military installations. Taiwan's relationship with Palau is deeply intertwined, having provided extensive assistance since Palau's independence in 1994, including agricultural support, medical services, and scholarships. Palau's continued recognition of Taiwan remains a key point of contention with China, which views Taiwan as a breakaway province. Beyond tourism and military activity, Palau faces additional challenges stemming from increased Chinese organized crime, with individuals like Broken Tooth engaging in scams and illicit activities, exploiting Palau's lack of diplomatic ties with China. The U.S. Treasury has sanctioned several individuals linked to Chinese groups for involvement in illegal activities. The situation is creating anxiety among Palau's residents, who are wary of becoming a battleground for a potential conflict between China and the United States. Calls for reassurance from the U.S. government regarding civilian protection in the event of war are growing. Both the U.S. and Taiwan have expressed concern about Palau's potential shift towards China, leading to increased investment and monitoring of the island nation. The delicate balance of power and the potential ramifications for Palau's future remain a significant concern, highlighting the nation's vulnerability in a rapidly shifting geopolitical landscape. SEC intensifies crackdown on financial crime in Thailand. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC of Thailand, is undertaking a significant expansion of its enforcement efforts and proactive safeguards to combat money laundering and technology-driven crimes within the country's capital market and burgeoning digital asset ecosystem. Recognizing escalating financial crime risks, the SEC is collaborating with domestic and international agencies to identify and dismantle scam networks and close structural loopholes. A key component of this strategy is the Connecting the Dots framework, facilitating faster investigations through enhanced data sharing with the Anti-Money Laundering Office, AMLO, and law enforcement. All licensed market participants are now mandated to strictly adhere to anti-money laundering requirements, including Know Your Customer, KYC and Customer Due Diligence, CDD protocols, coupled with mandatory reporting of suspicious activities. Non-compliance will result in penalties ranging from failure to report transactions to breaches involving tender offers or shareholder disclosures. Specifically within the digital asset sector, standards have been tightened to align with those applied to commercial banks. Exchanges and intermediaries are prohibited from opening accounts linked to blacklisted mule accounts and are required to conduct enhanced CDD for high-risk clients, necessitating customer classification based on risk profiles. To date, these coordinated efforts have successfully blocked 382 mule accounts, preventing illicit activity valued at over 200 million baht. The SEC's proactive approach has also resulted in the takedown of 134 scam-related accounts and URLs within the first 10 months of the year, spurred by a doubling of consultation requests. Furthermore, the SEC is collaborating with the Digital Economy and Society Ministry to block unauthorized foreign digital asset platforms, often utilized as laundering conduits. Under the Preventive Anti-Scam for All strategy, the SEC is utilizing consultation, communication, and collaboration to safeguard investors. This includes offering pre-transaction advisory services, consolidating information about investment fraud, and driving the nationwide Think Before You Transfer campaign. The regulator is also strengthening identity verification standards across major digital platforms, alongside a cybercrime prevention memorandum of understanding with 15 public and private organizations. The SEC's ongoing commitment reinforces the integrity of Thailand's capital markets and digital asset system, prioritizing transparency, vulnerability closure, and investor confidence. Thai rice deal boosts exports amidst trade tensions under Thailand's recent agreement to sell 500,000 tons of rice to China, alongside potential purchases from Singapore, offers a significant boost to the nation's export prospects and is viewed as a strategic maneuver to mitigate the impact of U.S. tariffs. Economist Somjai Phagesvivat believes this deal is timely, particularly given the pressure exerted by the U.S. on regional trade and the nation's projected economic slowdown, forecasting a 0.6% growth for the final quarter. The agreement reflects a broader effort to diversify markets away from U.S. influence. Farmers are optimistic, anticipating a rapid revenue flow into rural economies. While acknowledging existing export commitments of approximately 280,000 tons to China and uncertainty regarding inclusion in the new order, they welcome the deal, particularly following His Majesty the King's visit. The Commerce Ministry has also secured interest from other countries, including a potential order exceeding 100,000 tons from Singapore. White rice is selling at 4,000–5,000 baht per ton, while jasmine rice commands approximately 14 baht per kilogram. Domestic rice prices have risen sharply due to government-implemented measures, including storage support, delayed sale programs, and expanded provincial markets, spearheaded by the National Rice Policy and Management Committee. These initiatives, organized by the Department of Internal Trade, have driven jasmine paddy prices up to 14,716 100 baht per ton, and white rice paddy up by as much as 400 baht per ton. The ministry's rice market events, beginning November 10th and continuing until April next year, are facilitating direct sales between farmers and buyers across 32 provinces. Despite concerns about a potential negative reaction from the U.S., which could reduce imports of Thai products, the demand for Thai jasmine rice remains strong due to its competitive pricing and superior quality compared to Indian and Vietnamese rice. The overall strategy emphasizes engagement with both the U.S. and China, alongside a focus on regional trade diversification, particularly within the Global South, to strengthen ASEAN's single market. The government's actions, including the Con La Crewing Plus co-payment scheme, have also improved public perception and support. Severe flooding crisis in Hat Yai, Songkhla Province. The southern Thai province of Songkhla is grappling with a severe flooding crisis, primarily centered around the city of Hat Yai, due to record rainfall and a persistent monsoon trough. Authorities have mobilized all available resources, including the military, disaster relief agencies, and local police to assist residents and coordinate evacuation efforts. As of Sunday, 10 districts within Songkhla were declared disaster-hit areas, affecting over 465,000 people, with approximately 243,000 residing in Hat Yai district. The situation escalated dramatically on Monday, prompting the governor of Songkhla to order the total evacuation of Hat Yai district by 4 p.m. Multiple evacuation shelters were established, including those at Prince of Songkhla University, Songkhla Rajabhat University, and the 2nd Naval Area Command, prioritizing vulnerable populations such as the elderly and infirm. Rescue teams utilized vehicles and flat-bottomed boats to evacuate residents from flood-isolated areas. Flood levels were predicted to rise significantly, with projections of up to 145 meters by 6 a.m. Tuesday, fueled by continued heavy rainfall and the overflow of the Klong Hoi Kong district. The Hat Yai office of the Provincial Waterworks Authority was submerged, leading to the shutdown of the tap water plant. The Royal Irrigation Department reported flood depths ranging from 50 cm to 2.5 meters. Remarkably, the rainfall was a record-breaking event, with 335 millimeters recorded the week before and 630 millimeters between Wednesday and Friday of that same week, dating back 3 centuries. Approximately 405,000 people lived in Hat Yai as of 2023. Post-flood rehabilitation efforts are planned to commence once conditions permit. The National Statistical Office confirmed the population figure. The ongoing crisis highlights the vulnerability of the region to extreme weather events and underscores the critical need for continued monitoring and disaster preparedness measures. NIST International School, a global hub for academic excellence and student development. NIST International School Bangkok stands as Thailand's pioneering full not-for-profit IB World School, providing the complete international baccalaureate IB continuum encompassing the primary years program, PYP, middle years program AMYP, and diploma program ADP, complemented by the innovative Global Citizen Diploma, GCD. The school's enduring appeal stems from its ability to simultaneously cultivate academic rigor and the vital personal attributes of curiosity, resilience, and integrity, preparing students for admission to prestigious universities worldwide. Central to NES's identity is its remarkably diverse community, boasting families representing over 90 nationalities and 22 cultural groups, facilitated by the daily instruction of 12 home languages. This rich tapestry of perspectives fosters an inclusive environment where students learn from multiple viewpoints and appreciate global interconnectedness. Strategically located in Bangkok, the school's modern campus provides exceptional facilities, including newly constructed elementary buildings, a 2-story library, makerspaces designed to encourage hands-on learning, a learning kitchen, and a purpose-built gymnasium. Beyond the core curriculum, NIST offers a broad array of extracurricular activities, including competitive sports, award-winning service groups, creative pursuits, and international expeditions, nurturing leadership skills and a commitment to making a positive impact. Recent academic achievements underscore NES's commitment to excellence, with the class of 2025 achieving a remarkable 100% pass rate on the IB examinations, including 2 perfect 45 scores and an average score of 37. Graduates have secured places at top global universities such as Oxford, the University of Pennsylvania, and University College London, demonstrating the school's consistent ability to produce high-achieving individuals ready for success in higher education and beyond. The school's holistic approach, combined with its global perspective and outstanding facilities, firmly establishes NIST as a leading international school in Thailand. PTT's new hotel strategy amid strategic adjustments, PTT Oil and Retail Business PLC, OR, the oil trading arm of PTT PLC, is embarking on a significant expansion strategy by developing budget hotels within its petrol station compounds, slated to begin construction in the first half of 2025, with an anticipated opening by late 2026. This initiative, long delayed due to constitutional concerns regarding direct competition with private operators and exacerbated by the pandemic's impact on Thailand's tourism sector, aims to cater to travelers and professionals seeking affordable lodging. The project involves constructing a hotel featuring approximately 70-80 rooms, alongside amenities such as ample parking, a cafe Amazon outlet, and an Atari laundry service, alongside a 7-Eleven convenience store, designed as a modern rest stop. The company has finalized a feasibility study and secured board approval, and strategic partners are expected to be announced in the fourth quarter of 2024. While the exact development cost remains undisclosed, OR executives emphasize the project's focus on safety and service standards. The concept, initially explored in 2016, faced obstacles related to PTT's government-controlled ownership. Beyond the domestic expansion, OR is navigating challenges internationally. In Cambodia, 50 PTT petrol stations were rebranded under local ownership following escalating territorial disputes, significantly impacting sales due to rising ultranationalism and boycotts of Thai brands. Despite operating 186 stations and 2 to 54 cafe Amazon outlets, sales have been severely affected. Recognizing these challenges, OR is revising its 5-year investment plan 2025-2029, allocating 60.4 billion baht to both oil and non-oil businesses. This adjustment reflects forecasts of prolonged low crude oil prices and slower growth in Thailand's electric vehicle market. The company's strategic shift highlights a proactive approach to market volatility and underscores a commitment to adapting to evolving industry dynamics. The hotel development represents a key component of this broader strategic realignment.